and McCarthy and Rogers. That's a good one, but how do you not give that to Belichick and Brady? And he didn't even mention them of the two. I couldn't fathom that at all. I'm sitting there the whole time with that's got to be the obvious answer. I mean, we're talking about three Super Bowls, and they are, they're like, what are they, 13, 14 years into this relationship now? Something like that. At least a dozen years. And in that divisional game against the Ravens, they pull out that little rule hiccup that they picked up on with the ineligible and eligible receivers coming in. And that kind of stuff is like that. Nobody else does that. And nobody else has done that over that period of time. Now, granted, there's a little thing called Spygate. So maybe that's why they weren't throwing him into that conversation. But it's Belichick and Brady. It's Belichick and Brady without question. It's not McCarthy and Rodgers. They don't have that pedigree as of yet. I'll let you know right now. I'm a Giants fan, and it's like how did the Giants get past the Packers twice on their way to Super Bowls in Green Bay? And then go on to beat the Patriots in both of those Super Bowls, and they had no business doing either of those. So if it's really that impressive a combo, you'd have more than the one ring under your belt, and you wouldn't have the kind of what were they? The Packers were 15-1 that year that the Giants came in and took that divisional round game from them on their way to the 2011 season. Defending Super Bowl champions, 15-1 on the regular season. Looking like they're going to just steamroll through again, and then my Giants come in and happen to beat them. So, but on the other side of the ball, we should still talk about the Colts real quick. I like Andrew Luck. He's the next big thing. It's obvious. He's so smart. He's so talented. He has those. He could get to that Aaron Rodgers place where he's matching up, and he might be getting there faster than Rodgers did. Granted, he didn't have to sit behind a legend for 3 years, but Luck, that is, didn't have to sit behind a legend like Rodgers had to do with Favre. But at the same time, he doesn't have a running game to rely on. He has aging wide receivers with limited skill sets to what they used to have now in Reggie Wayne, and then Hakeem Nicks, who I was very familiar with, obviously, as I just said, as being a Giants fan. And the couple of times I've seen him, his skill set is vastly diminished. And then you throw in there, it's a suspect defense. They get into shootouts where Luck has to, bring them back. He's got a bunch of comebacks already under his belt, and there's a reason why. It's because his defense doesn't really hold up for him. So he's got to make up for a touchdown here and there. And then if he makes a mistake and it's a pick six or something like that, he's even further behind the 8 ball. So the obvious favorites in this were Seattle and New England, and trying my best to figure out a way that it ends up being either Green Bay or Indy or both in the Super Bowl. I just can't find it. I just can't see it. There you have that. I'm looking for a Seattle New England Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens. I think it'd be a great one. If it ends up that way. And also, like, as we talked about in that last episode, guess who's playing golf down the road leading into that Sunday is going to be Tiger Woods, going to be playing at the Phoenix Open. So again, it could be just a powerhouse day of sports. We need to go over my we need to go over my picks. So my picks for this week, we'll start with the Sony Open. My A player is Jason Day, and he is currently through 3 rounds. He is tied for 25th at 8 under. All rounds in the 60s, 65, 69, 68 so far. Playing steady, but not rocketing up that leaderboard. And last week he really closed strong on Sunday, so maybe I luck out and he goes on another run like that. My B player was Gary Woodland, or is Gary Woodland, and he's playing very well. He jumped up he opened with a 70, which wasn't what he was looking for, even par 70, and then he's had 265s in a row here, so he's in a tie for 8th right now, and he's my lead horse at the moment. C player was Charles Howell III. Charlie. I've wanted him to be. I've wanted him to be such a better player than he ended up being as far as statistically is concerned. Some more wins. He just never seemed to get how to close the deal down. The putting has always been sort of an issue for him. That sort of thing. He's right there with Jason Day, 8 under, in that tie for 25th. And similar numbers, all in the 60s, 69, 66, 67. But again, just doesn't look like it's going to be, his week. But John Peterson was my D player and my 4th group pick, and he's actually performed very well. It was a shot in the dark kind of thing. I don't know, like if you want to call it a gut feeling or something. And I took him, and he's currently through 3 rounds. He's tied for 19th at 9 under par, and just playing. He had a couple of really good rounds, a 65 and a 66, surrounding an even par 70 in the second round. So I'm kicking myself. I wanted to take Kuchar, but I took him last week, and I didn't see him. He's just he's a steady Eddie player. I probably should have picked him again. Defending champion Jimmy Walker is currently in first place with a 2-shot lead over Kuchar. I could have seen myself taking Walker as well, except for the fact that it's a defending champion, so that's really always like a toss up for me. So. So those were my 4. I took Day, Woodland, Howell III, and John Peterson in the Sony Open. Now we'll get to the Abu Dhabi, which is done, and I know I did terribly there. So the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship, my picks for that, and it's the same format that the Golf Channel does. So you have the Group 1, 2, 3, and 4, or A, B, C, D, if you want to, however you want to look at it. My group A and Group D, my Group 1 and Group 4, however you want to say it, were Henrik Stenson, and I was there between him and McIlroy. I obviously made the wrong choice. I picked Stenson. He ends up missing the cut. So did Gregory Havre, who was in my Group 4 spot. Those are always going to be tough ones, though. It's guys that are struggling to make cuts, and so it's those are always just really hit or miss. In the middle, I did okay with Schwartzel. I had Charles Schwartzel as my second group pick, and that was coming off of he had a really great chance to win the previous week. Didn't end up doing it. Couldn't hold on to a lead, similar to Keimer, and not quite as huge a collapse, but could not hold on to a pretty decent lead. And so I figured he was playing well, and so I picked him, and he ended up finishing top 10. He was in 9th place. And then I had Peter Uihlein in my 3 spot, and his week was okay, especially for a Group 3 pick. That's what you're kind of looking for. He finishes at 31st in a tie for 31st. But the overall performance of my selections, I had 2 missed cuts, a ninth and a 31st. So that's not going to get it done when it, for that week. So I'm hoping for big things out of my guys, my 4 guys that are in reasonable position over at the Sony Open to maybe make up for my losses there on the other side of the pond. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Enjoy the football today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Foresight, or like us on Facebook. Facebook, it's the Foresight is the page name. Make sure to check out, though, Celtic Golf for their 3 different golf packages, travel packages that they have to this year's 2015 British Open. That's CelticGolf.com. Call Jerry Quinlan at 1-800-535-6148. They've been in, like I said, in the past episodes, they've been in business for 25 years. Jerry Quinlan and his family, it's a family-owned and operated business. They do a better job than anybody else when it comes to golf travel. Make sure to give them a call, find out what's going on there. They've got a bunch of different options where you can stay and spectate, stay and play and spectate, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of hit the ground running with them. You get down, you get over there, and then everything else is just taken care of, and it's first class. So, once again, CelticGolf.com, or call Jerry Quinlan at 1-800-535-6148 for Celtic Golf. Again, a thanks to the fine folks at the Black Sheep Brewery for the Monty Python and the Holy Ale. Till next time, everyone, great golf, great beer, and cheers.